Thank you all for joining us. We are so glad that you would take time out of your schedules to be part of this. If you don't know me, my name is Robin, and if you want to know more about us, why don't you check out our website, robinandlenu.com. Don't also forget to watch our previous episodes. That being said, I've been thinking, why does it feel like social distancing is not something really new for most of us in the church? Why does it feel like for the church it just happens to be another typical day with Jesus? How have we selfishly disciplined ourselves to become experts in social distancing because we have convinced ourselves that as Christians it's more important to spend time with Jesus than to reveal Jesus to the multitudes? Have we got to that place as Christians that we believe that it is most important to spend time with Jesus than to reveal Him to the multitudes? Is our model of intimacy with God costing God sons and daughters? If we are true to ourselves, why is our churches filled with more light of Jesus than the world? You must be asking me, what do you mean by that? Well, why does it look like Jesus is manifested more in our churches than He is to the rest of the world? Matthew 5:14 puts it this way: "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Listen to this carefully. Has our own theology about intimacy, has our own model and theology about intimacy caused us to confine Jesus to our own secret places and the four walls of the church? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't need to spend time with Jesus, but is the fruits of our time with Jesus overflowing to the ones outside the church? Remember, God positioned us to be the light in the world and not just in the church. Remember, God positioned us to be a city set on a hill and not to be hidden permanently within the four walls of the church. See, darkness and fear has a way of exposing the true light that we all carry. It has a way of exposing if we are a hidden city or a city set on a hill. It has a way of exposing what we believe in and how much love and light we carry for the people around us. See, if we are connected as a church to the source of life itself, if you're connected to Jesus Himself, then what radiates out of us is the light that is meant to be consumed by this world. It is meant to be a light that brings healing and hope to the needy. In Mark chapter 2, we read about this story about a paralytic man who was brought to Jesus. It says that Jesus was preaching to the crowd. Many were gathered there, that there was no more room, not even at the door. And there they came bringing this paralytic guy carried by 4 men. And when they could not get near him because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him and let down the bed on which the paralytic was. Jesus, seeing their faith, He does 2 things for this man. First, He says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." And then second, He heals the paralytic by saying, "Rise, pick up your bed and go home." I want to focus on one critical part of this passage. What stood between the man and his miracle was not his or his friend's faith. It was not his lack of desire to get healed. It was not even the state of his sickness, but it was the crowd. See, it was the very same ones that gathered together week after week, meeting after meeting, just because they wanted to be with Jesus. See, people saw this man wanting to get in to meet Jesus to get healed, and yet they ignored him. Isn't that crazy that we as the church have the capacity to put blinders on our eyes because we have chosen self-centered intimacy with Jesus over empathy for our neighbor? Because many times we end up choosing social distancing over compassion. See, we as a church should be careful to stonewall someone's need for deliverance because their freedom and their healing is going to cost our need for our own so-called personal space. Because it's going to cost our intimate time with God. Because it's going to cost our schedules. Because somehow we see someone else's paralytic fear and their storm as an inconvenience to our faith. Why has reaching the world become an inconvenience to you and me? Why can't we see it as a divine moment for us to be the light and speak life over them? Why don't we as a church see it as an opportunity from God to be His hands, to be His feet, to be His voice? An introvert church is a church that is willfully silent. A silent church is a church that is okay to stall the healing of a nation. See, if in the season, people without hope, paralyzed with fear, and crippled with pain is dropping through the roof right in front of you, it's because there is a light within you and me that is meant to bring forth freedom and healing to the needy. It's because you and I carry Jesus. It's because darkness has a way of exposing what we carry. See, in the season, hopelessness is all around us. It's right in front of our eyes, it's right in front of our doors, and even in some cases, it's broken through the roof of our sacred belief systems. The question for our time is, what will we do and say as a church when the world breaks the roof of our theologies just to get our attention? What will we do as a church when people need Jesus? What will we do and say as a church when the world crashes into our intimate times with Jesus? Will we allow or stall the light within us from healing the needy around us? Will we allow intimacy with God to take us just from being drenched with Him to impacting the world with this light, with this hope, to becoming heaven on earth? Listen to this. It is spiritual neglect to think that Jesus gave us access to Him only to assure us about our own destinies and our own freedom. See, being a disciple of Jesus, being the church, is not just being assured of our own destinies, but also the ones around us. See, it's high time that the testimony of our churches has to be more than our own individual reflections within the four walls, but it has to be a fruit that overflows and touches the ones around us. See, I want to encourage you to be a light in the world during these times. I want to encourage you to be a city on a hill, not hidden under the four walls of theology and intimacy. I want to encourage you to give permission for the hopeless and the weak to break the roof of your own comfort. I want to encourage you to take a bold step and break the silence of the church. Stop being introverts. Stop being an introvert church. Remember, true intimacy with God should not cost heaven sons and daughters. I want to say that again. True intimacy with God should not cost heaven sons and daughters. It's time that we stop socially distancing ourselves from the world just because it's going to cost us time and effort to be a true radical follower and lover of Jesus. We would love to hear from you. Please leave your comments and your prayer requests. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and sign up for the notifications to get notifications for our coming episodes. Remember, this is the day to break the silence.